My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm an associate real estate broker in Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching on real estate. And today, we're going to be talking about what's going on in Eagle River. You're doubtlessly seeing tons of headlines all over the place with everybody and their dog sharing their opinions about what they think is going on in the real estate market. And the real question we need to be asking ourselves is, how much are these like big headlines you see in all these big news outlets, how applicable are they to the local level, specifically looking at Eagle River? Well, we'll talk about that today and see what's going on actually in our market as far as what the numbers are showing us. Before we get started though, give this video a like, subscribe, do all that good stuff for the algorithm, and let's go and jump into today's market update. The first thing that we want to see in Eagle River is what's going on in the residential market. And the first thing we want to see in the residential market is how many properties are actually available. How many houses are available for purchase? Well, right now, there are 33. This time last year, there were 36. So we're seeing a little bit of a decrease, but let's be honest, not a big swing one way or the other, though. The next thing we want to know is how many houses have actually sold for the previous month, the month of March, compared to the year before. Well, this time last year, we saw there was 33 properties is sold. Now there's 27. So you see a bit of a decrease in the number of houses that are selling. And we'll talk about why that probably is at the end here. Probably interest rates probably play a pretty good role as a part of it, though. The next thing we want to look at is what's going on in the average sold price for homes in Eagle River. Well, if you're looking to buy, this probably isn't going to sound like great news initially, but the average sold price actually went from about $467,000 to about $498,000 year to date. Now, year to date, lately, it hasn't really been the best indicator of what the market is doing as far as the sale prices, just because the year to date is just what it is, year to date. And so really what I want to look at, though, is what the numbers look like when you look at all the data for the completed month. Okay, because we have a lot of homes that are going to be selling near the end or near the beginning of the month. And when you just look at year to date, you kind of miss a lot of that. And when you have a smaller market or smaller sample size with fewer houses selling, that stuff like that starts having a bigger impact. So looking at just the year, comparing just the 1 month to the month before, not just the year to date, we see that the average sold price in March of 2022 went from about $468,000 and it increased to about $512,000 for the past month of March. That sounds pretty dramatic, but hang on, it gets even more wild for the month of February, because it went from about $423,000 to about $540,000 for the month of February. Which that's biggest uptick in the average sold price we have seen really in recorded history here. I'm not seeing any other month where we actually had more higher sold price than for the month of February in 2023. And that's including the summer months. The second closest is, that's probably going to be July of 2022, where it was like 505,000 versus 500 and almost 540,000 for the month of February. And this isn't even the busy time of year. So what we're seeing for the average sold price right now in Eagle River, if we're waiting for a big market collapse to happen and those prices to just suddenly go through the floor, not really seeing it. The inventory remains pretty low. Demand is slackened off a little bit, but inflation is really doing its thing now, and that's going to continue to increase the average sold price for homes in the area, because real estate as an asset is going to keep up with inflation much better than you're going to have with other asset classes. If you're waiting for the interest rates to come down, I really wouldn't expect that to happen anytime soon, just because the interest rates we had the past couple of years are not the norm, and it's not going to help us long term with all of our other big national financial issues. And so for that reason, we're probably going to continue to see the interest rates going up. And I really would be shocked if we ever see those 2.3% interest rates ever again. Realistically, though, with the interest rates going up, we're kind of just going back to the norm. Really, for the past decade, we've been spoiled by having low interest rates. And we just gotten to the point where we just expect it, but they definitely have not been the norm. And I know that's not very popular to say, but that is just a reality that we're seeing kind of a return to normalcy, and it's not really going through the roof crazy just yet as far as interest rates. I know it doesn't feel that way when when you see your potential mortgage payments shooting through the roof the way that they can when the interest rates go up. but that's just the way it is. And the faster that you can adjust to that and be okay and move forward with it, the better of a position you're going to be in, because it's not likely to change for the better moving forward as far as interest rates go. Obviously, things can change, and they do frequently, but just with the data in front of me, I would be surprised if it did. Now, the next thing we're going to look at is what's going on in the condo market in Eagle River. So this is becoming an increasingly popular section of the market here. And the reason for that is Eagle River is a central location. If you can find a condo there, you're going to have quick, convenient access to a lot of conveniences, a lot of amenities, and you're going to be able to commute pretty easily over to Anchorage or drive out to the Matsu Valley as well. So for that reason, it's going to be pretty popular. And so you're going to see a lot of demand there. So there were 9 condos available this time last year. Now there are 2. And just in my experience with condos in Eagle River, they go on and they go off very, very quickly right now. So I really wouldn't expect to see condos in Eagle River stay on the market for a long time. The number of condos that sold in Eagle River went from 5 the year before for the month of March to 3 this year, which makes sense if we're seeing such a decrease in the overall inventory. But I do expect to start seeing that increase as we get closer to the summer months. Now, we're going to talk about the average sold price for condos in Eagle River, but keep in mind, these are dealing with a very small sample size just because we do have only a couple properties that have actually sold, and it really does come down to where those condos are, what condition they were in, compared to the couple that sold the year before. It's not like we have 100 condos that sold this year and 100 that sold the year before, and we can compare apples to apples. At that point, it really depends who decided to sell their condo this year versus the year before. So just looking at the average sold price, though, it went from year to date about $297,000 the year before to about $258,000 for this year. So that is about a 13% decrease, and that does sound like things are coming down drastically. Now, looking at the completed month that we have all the data for, we're actually seeing that the average sold price went from about $266,000 in March of 22 to about $252,000 for the past month. Again, this really does come down to which condos are actually selling, just because we're seeing such a decrease in the sample size of the condos that are selling. And once you're only dealing with like a couple that are actually selling, it really comes down to which ones are selling. And the average sold price doesn't really give you a good indication. I can say anecdotally from being on the ground trying to help people buy condos in Eagle River, it is a hot hopping market right now. And if it's something that you want to do, and if it qualifies for FHA, you need to be able to bring some cash to the table for an appraisal gap or something like that to really stand out, because everybody is switching gears from trying to find a residential house. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people are switching gears from trying to find a residential house and trying to switch over to condos because they look a lot more affordable. But what they're finding is there's a lot more competition actually for condos now than for houses. So it drives up the price, makes you have to bring a lot more to the table. If you can only barely qualify for the loan and you have no cash, it's going to be an uphill fight for condos in Eagle River. I am just going to be honest with you. Now let's go ahead and take a break real quick. If you are living here in the Anchorage area, we were actually putting on an event. When I say we, I mean Keller Williams, my brokerage. We're putting on an event called Red Day, in which we're going to be sponsoring and raising money for a local charity called Priceless. Now, Priceless mentors survivors of human trafficking, and it provides a lot of education, reintegrates them back into society, teaches them job skills, teaches them how to balance a budget, all that good stuff. And we're going to be raising about $150,000. The date for that is going to be May 11th. So if you're in the area and you're interested in participating in the auction or donating to this cause, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to put you in contact with who you need to in order to help you to assist with this great program and this excellent organization and charity. Now, let's go and talk real quick what's going on in the multifamily market, though. Now, the next thing we want to look at is multifamily. And multifamily, we see that there's only one multifamily property available in all of Eagle River compared to 2 the year before. So not a whole lot going on in multifamily. Reason for that is once you get a multifamily property in Eagle River, you usually just don't want to let it go. It's a good solid area. While you're not going to be making as much as you would in other parts of the city, you are also going to be dealing with far less headache in Eagle River than you would anywhere else. So for that reason, once you get a property in Eagle River, most landlords just don't really want to let go of it. Not surprisingly, the number of properties that have actually sold in multifamily went from 1 the year before to 0 this year. So not a huge surprise there. Now, looking at the year-to-date, we've not actually sold any properties year-to-date in Eagle River for multifamily, so that's kind of irrelevant. I kind of suspect that with the rent prices going up, you're going to see an increase for the market value for multifamily properties here in Eagle River. Best thing I can say is that you, as a landlord, you just want to make sure you're not being too greedy and asking for too much, because you've seen things are going up really well and you see the home prices are going up, that doesn't necessarily mean the multifamily property values are going to go up if you haven't been keeping up with what the market value are for your rentals. There we go. So if you are trying to maximize what you can get, making sure your rents are market value is going to be your best ticket to do that. If the market value for your unit is about $1,700 and you're only charging $1,300, great, you're doing a great thing for your tenants, and it's not going to help you at all when you're trying to sell. So just giving you the cold hard facts here. Now, overall for the entire summary, what does all this mean? Well, it means if you're a seller, things are still pretty favorable, not as hot as it was before during the 2020, 2022, 2021 market, but you are still seeing a pretty solid hot market shaping up for this year of 2023. Not really seeing any kind of sign of things just taking a dip anytime soon, but yeah, could be wrong. Things always do change here. We'll keep you updated, if we do start seeing any big changes in that direction. As a buyer, I know things look really scary right now, and interest rates are going up and prices are going up, and you're wondering, okay, is the market about to collapse? The market is not likely to collapse anytime soon. Not impossible. Obviously, anything's possible these days, but it's unlikely. And the reason for that is we just have so much less housing available in relation to the demand of what we've seen before. And we're just not seeing really a good indication that things are going to collapse. If they collapse, it's usually because there's way too many options compared to the demand. Right now, it's the exact opposite problem. As long as supply remains really low, it seems pretty unlikely we're going to see a collapse anytime soon. Now, interest rates are going to have an impact on the market moving forward, as we've seen historically. Anecdotally, what I've experienced, though, is interest rates go up. It takes buyers about 2 weeks to emotionally adjust to that, and then we're right back to business. If you are a buyer, best thing I can say is interest rates go up, you instantly hit the pavement with a new intensity to make sure you can put something under contract and take advantage of everybody else sitting on their hands and being worried and dealing with their anxiety. No, you jump in there, you take advantage of that lull, and you put something under contract quick, because that's going to be your best friend, probably, is helping to eliminate some of your competition if the interest rates go up. Now, I'm going to speak real quick to my fellow real estate colleagues in the industry. What all these numbers mean for you. It means that you've got to really make sure you are in touch with what actually drives your business, and you need to make sure you are cutting every expense that you can, because this is great for sellers. It's going to be great for buyers once they become homeowners, and we're seeing much less sales actually happening. So expect to see a bit of a pay cut during the upcoming year. And you better really make sure that your business is being run like a business and you're not treating it like your own personal piggy bank. You just go buy extravagant cars, vacations, like living a lifestyle that, was to the max of what you made for the past couple of years. That's all gone. Okay, if that's been you really need to make sure you're dialing in on your numbers and making sure that you're running your business like a business. So I sure hope this has been useful. If it has, make sure to give it a like, and we'll see you next time.